Now, John Cleese, who turns 81 on his next birthday, has opened up about his beliefs on the afterlife. He says, I think there is life after death. I don't know anything in detail, but I've seen enough evidence that something goes on, certainly for some people, after they die. So, Denise, do you believe that something happens to you after you die?
Sadly, I don't. Well, is it sadly? It's not for me. I'm not religious, and I do equate belief in afterlife with religion or belief in God. And I'm an atheist, and I respect people's faith, and I often envy people's faith because I think it gets them through a lot, but there's not enough evidence for me. Also, and it may be, because I've really analysed this, it may be something to do with living with major depressive illness myself, which I have, that I find more of a solace in the fact that there isn't anything rather than that there is anything. Obviously, you know, people say that they can see family and reconnect. I do also think that some people think it's like there's going to be Sainsbury's and, you know, and normal life going on somehow. But I just feel that I live the best life that I can on this life. I also think that there is a tendency to some people who aren't very nice people, but they pretend to be because they think it'll get them to heaven or somewhere. And somebody once said to me on holiday in Jamaica, and they said, why are you a nice person when you don't believe in an afterlife? And I thought, I can't believe they said that, meaning, what's the point if you're not going to anything greater?
To be rewarded, yeah.
So I just try to live the best life that I can here and enjoy my time as much as possible on this earth. And I'll just be happy to be 6 foot under, and that's me done. That's how I feel.
Each to their own. What do you think, Janet?
Well, I do believe there's an afterlife, and I think that it is I can see John Cleese is a pretty controversial character. I mean, he has said some pretty weird things in recent years, but I think the reason why he said this is that as you get older, it kind of focuses your mind. But belief in the afterlife is something that I've thought existed since I was in my 20s, and I don't know whether it comes from going to Sunday school as a little girl and then going to a church school, and I just felt a connection with belief. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the Church of England. I'll be the first to say that. I don't like the kind of apparatus of belief, of all the funny costumes the bishops wear and all of that. I just think belief's a private matter. But as you get older, or if you have a terminal illness, then you get a lot of solace, as Denise says, she gets solace from not believing in the afterlife. I think there's a huge amount of solace to be gained from believing in an afterlife. And I do believe in it. I don't believe it's going to be like getting on the 28 bus and my mum will be sitting there smoking a woodbine. Because a lot of people think you're going to reconnect with your relatives and they're going to look...
They're all going to be waiting for you.
Well, in my mother's case, she'll be telling me off for doing something
I don't
wrong.
like the thought of eternity. I don't like the thought of there not being a cut-off point if I didn't like it.
It's not a physical world. You're not... It's a world that's going to... You know, it's just a state of mind, and I feel quite comfortable with that. I don't want every question answered. We spend our whole life explaining everything. I don't want the afterlife explained. I just believe
You just believe in it. Well, that's fair enough.
Can I just ask, Brenda, you were really nodding there when Janet was talking about, maybe meeting her mum, because I know that's something that actually you think very tenderly about.
I mean, I was raised Pentecostal. I've spoken about this before. I was raised in the Pentecostal church, and I do believe in the afterlife. I've lived a lot of my life hoping that there is going to be, that when I die, I will be reunited with my mum and dad, who unfortunately were taken from me at the age of 4 years old. And, you know, I actually had an instance once when I was about 11 or 12. I didn't like going to the dentist at all. And my aunt, she took me to the dentist one day, and went to the dentist, had my appointment, and then I was crossing the road and I got knocked over by a car, up on the bonnet, up on the roof, back down on the bonnet, on the floor. And my aunt was frantic. Went to the hospital. I had no broken bones, no grazes, no scrapes, no anything. And if you know the dual carriageway on Dunstable Road in Luton, it's a wide and traffic goes very fast. And my aunt always said, you know, you're not supposed to be going in the same way as how your parents went in a car crash. And I've always held on to that, and it gives me some sort of solace and some sort of happiness and peace that, okay, I'm going to get to see my mum and dad one day, and I'm going to give them a big hug and just live my life again with them.
This is what I think is so fascinating about this discussion, is that every one of us has a different idea in terms of what actually happens to us when we pass. And each one of our beliefs brings us comfort in some way, which is why I think...
Do you believe?
Yeah, I do, but it's why I think it's wrong to say this is definitively what happens, because
I don't
it's whatever.
think
but some people do,
yeah.
And that's why it's whatever brings you comfort in the, you know, whether it's in the dark of night brings you comfort, or whether it is in the light of day. For me, I hadn't really given it much thought until we did something here a couple of years ago, where I did a past life regression. Now I went into it eyes and ears open, not really giving it too much thought. But I don't know what clip we're going to show now. Let's have a little look.
So I just want you to do a very slow 360-degree turn and tell me what you see.
It's very barren. It's hot. It's really hot. It's like in the Middle East or somewhere.
So how old are you?
About 9.
Do you live in a house or do you live in a...
No, we're very poor. We keep animals.
Okay.
That was obviously going backwards,
Yeah,
rather
that
than
wasn't
going...
the
That was a
afterlife,
past life. That was a before life. That was a before life. But what's interesting, as we went through that whole experience, was this feeling of... how do I explain this? And again, it's not something I'd read, it's not something I'd felt, it was just something I experienced at the time, was we went back to that past life and then to the life before that. And the only way I can sum it up is that I came away with this feeling that actually we're all an energy. We're all made up of an energy, and that life, that energy is kind of ever there.
Well, I did have You Been Here Before with Philip Schofield years ago and made it all up because I was too embarrassed. It's the first time I've admitted that publicly.
There you go.
So you don't necessarily... You believe in an afterlife, just not a before?
Yeah, well, neither yet. It's yet to be proven.
OK, well, as they say, it's best to live in the present, so there we are.